Hey, Soul Survivors, we are back. We are live and starting the live broadcast. We got some fluffy hair going on. It was super hot today, but thanks for joining in. Today was a good day. What about you guys? How did you have your day go? So I just got off the lake. I took 3 trips around the lake in the pontoon. So met some new neighbors, made some new friends, got a nice little nap in. Hi, Fish. Fish is number 1. Good to have you here. We had a fantastic. Verge is here and super hot. But yeah, feel free to share, invite new people. And pretty soon, I think I'm going to go ahead and break down and start bringing other people on so we can have some live chats going on. But good to have you guys here. So we're going to talk about some of the trauma that we've been through and different triggers. So feel free to communicate with me. And Lucy May is here and Fran King. Good to have you, Victor. So we got lots of people joining us. Feel free to hit that like button. But triggers, I was watching a video with, sorry, I don't know her name. It was a judge, and she was doing this paternity test between a 22-year-old girl and a man in somewhere in his mid-40s. And so talking about the triggers, like the judge was triggered and the narcissism in this guy, he might have even been a sociopath, psychopath, but they're trying to see this paternity test turn out, and the wife is right there. And it was really interesting how the man had acted. So he was, like the judge said, he was validating both women until it didn't quite meet his needs. And I got so many people joining in. Awesome to have you guys. Thank you. So they're trying to do this paternity, and he didn't want to have this child, but he had told the girl that he wanted to have children. And a lot of times, they kind of suck you in thinking that, you're going to have the love of your life. And so she ended up, after 8 months of dating him, gave in and they had this child. So he's starting to blame her, saying that she's sleeping around. She is a very committed person and she cheated on him. So the wife is hearing all this stuff and she's maintaining her composure. I was very proud of her. But the guy, whenever he would get insulted, he was like clapping. Some of it part might be stimulated because of the people televised court case, but it was really interesting action, his excuses, the smiles that he had. And so you could see what was triggering different people. She was being triggered because, she was like sick of being used. But the judge, I noticed, she must be sick of the disrespect and the lies and all that stuff. So she started getting triggered. She started talking really harsh to him. So she kind of lost a little bit of credibility because she had said, you might as well just not talk because anything you say has no value. So that's really hard for somebody to hear too. So even if somebody is a bad person, it kind of escalates things. It kind of cuts them down instead of building them up. Sometimes people who have some types of mental illness, sometimes they do need to be built up so they can believe in themselves again. We're going to start talking about how the self-esteem can be cut down and how it can kind of bring people down further. But I see lots of love from you guys. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. And some of you are coming back from yesterday, the day before. So sorry for the late login, but like I said, I got invited to go out in the pontoon. So instead of organizing, I still got stuff. I got my podcast console, I guess it would be. So I got to get into that and kind of check it out. There might be some sound effects. I don't even know what's in there. But Josh and DJ's here, Jorge Clarkson. Good to have everybody. So feel free to let me know some of the triggers that you've noticed, because sometimes we're communicating with people and it's kind of mind-blowing, like what is going on? Why are these people reacting such a different way than expected? And a lot of it goes back to our childhood. And I saw this one video last night before I went to bed that was extremely interesting. And it was that like your triggered state is at different ages. So as you get older, you're going to have different triggered states. So if something happened when you were a child, that's when you're going to go back to how you would handle it as a child when you're in the triggered state. And I know like I had a really bad breakup. It was one of those narcissistic things. They didn't communicate and it was really frustrating. You get into that trauma bond, the brain damage that happens, the brain fog, and you just cry and scream. And I have had, like, I'm a burn victim. And, that's probably about as extreme pain as you can get. I've had broken bones and stitches 7 different times, on and on. Childbirth, my daughter broke my tailbone when I had her. So I've been through some pain, but not like the emotional pain that, sometimes I wonder what was my ultimate pain going back to then. Was that why I was like screaming and crying? Because it was like the deepest hurt that I felt. And, it's interesting how when I'm frustrated, I cry. Is that something from childhood? I get triggered. Something must have been, I don't know, but different triggers. Sometimes it sounds silly. I didn't give a guy a chance because he said, geez, Louise. No. Just little things sometimes that were like, why did this person break up with me? And just the way he said it, I don't know. I was younger then too, but little things, because we're always like, why didn't they pick me? Why did they let me go? Some of us have tried extremely hard to make this work, and all of a sudden we're discarded. And it's not a normal breakup. If you've been with a narcissist or a psychopath, sociopath, sometimes even borderline, that it's hard to comprehend. And that's why so many of us are searching for answers. And I'm here to give you guys some answers, some guidance, a little bit of validation. I know a lot of you have gone to therapy or tried to talk to friends, and people just aren't connecting. They're like, duh, why didn't you just leave them? Thank you for that thumbs up. To where people just aren't getting it. And it makes you feel even more crazy. Like, like I just want to be heard. Like I know what I went through. Or they'll see a different aspect of it, or they don't understand the reactive abuse. I know a lot of you have, whether it's on my channel or other channels, has asked, how can we get back at our narcissist? And the thing is, you don't want to, eye for an eye. You don't necessarily want to do that. You want to maintain your character. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. You don't want others looking at you through a different lens. Maintain that persona that is true to you, because if you start getting back at the person, trying to get revenge or playing little games, it's gonna give you your karma too. So dealing with the anger, it's part of the stages of grief that you have to go through. So it's actually healthy to be angry, but it's how we handle things. And lashing back is not going to help the situation. A lot of times it can get you in more harm. So when you break up with a narcissist, a lot of times that's the most dangerous time. I told you I'm waiting on a murder trial of a friend of mine. Happened about a year ago, where her husband killed her. And he was just upset. She went out drinking and had a baby shower earlier in the day. And she was going, her friends are like, we'll drive you home. And she's like, no, I have to get his truck back or he's going to kill me. And she was so worried about getting this truck back. She risked, driving drunk. And, sometimes in that situation, we got to think, we got to take care of ourselves. But for her to say that and get it home and then end up getting killed anyways, where did things go wrong? And it's probably some jealousy. And, I've never wanted to get revenge because you never know at the lashback. And it reminds me of when I was a kid. I did, like with my brother, if I ever got in a fight with him, he would pummel me. So it's like, I'm not even risking that. I'm not even getting physical. So I got lots of guys. Shelly, can I invite you? I don't know. I'm tempted to do it. I think I might start doing that next week. Thinking about inviting guests on to get the conversation going. We had some good conversation. Feel free to let me know what you guys want to talk about. But the triggered state is where things start going worse, because some of us want to save our relationships. Sometimes somebody is narcissistic. Sometimes somebody is triggered. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're a narcissist. But another thing I have learned is that it's through the Gottman Institute where they study. It's really good insight onto things. So the Gottmans, they had seen that, they're able to predict who's going to break up, who's going to stay together with extreme accuracy, anywhere from like 80 to 90%, depending on what the study is. And they had said the values, because if you think about it, if you don't care if somebody swears, then you're cool with it. But if you care about that, then it's going to start eating at you. If you don't care what somebody's religion is, you can date whoever. If your faith is extremely important to you, maybe you're going to start resenting the person because they're not going to church or synagogue with you, all these kind of things. Or, can we just let the kids do whatever they want? But if you're in alignment is really important. And we have to take the time to give a relationship enough time to develop, to talk through things, to understand if we're going to commit our lives to someone, are we really on par with them? Do we know what we're signing up for? And if you've dealt with a narcissist or, it's really hard. Like that man that I saw today in that court case, he tried to say the right things. But when it came down to it, he was throwing the wife and the girlfriend under the bus and had no empathy. Even when they were talking about, is the child his? He's like, I hope not. But he had told that woman that he wanted a child with her. So it was really sad. That's a child's life. And Todd is joining us. Hi, Todd. How's your day going? Caleb, lots of people. I don't know how to pronounce your names. Lots of numbers, and Conrad's here. So just to see, the cockiness and the arrogance and the way that he would say thank you. So sometimes they think they're being polite. They think they're doing the right thing, but the judge is cutting him down, saying he's basically not worth anything and needs to shut up. And he's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he's mouthing back to the judge. And I was at a court case where, Michaela's back. Good to have you. So I was at court and you could tell the guy wasn't quite right. And the judge is about to sentence him. He gave, what was it that I think he said something like, he could do like 10 hours of community service or he'd have to go back to jail for a year. And so he ended up wanting to go back to jail. And it was like, the judge was like, do you understand? And was like thanking him. And the judge was like, don't thank me. Do you understand what you just signed up for? And I think the courts need to intervene sometimes too on that. And it was really sad too, how some people are really committed to their relationships. There was another case where it was a divorce and the man did not want to divorce the woman and they had to split their marital property. And so he had to pay, it was like $3,000 or something. It wasn't all that much. And judge was even trying to set up payments, and it was like his family's house. It was his family's house, but they were somehow going to split it up, and he didn't want to pay just a certain amount. So she ended up getting this whole house, which was really sad because he wanted to honor his commitment to her. So there's a lot of damage that goes on in these relationships. But Todd, I see you waving. Good to have you here. And we got a challenge going on TikTok. But yeah, there's a lot of cool. We got the daily ranking coming up because the last 3 times what is this, number 4 that I've gone live. I think I tried it one other time, so maybe number 5, but we have been 100%. You guys are sending that love. That means a lot to me. And we got people joining on YouTube. YouTube, can you let me know that the chat is working? If you can help me with that, because we've had some problems. I just had, I was out on lake and a neighbor was saying that one of the people who's also a podcaster, we're going to try to get her on. She's been wanting to meet me. So she tried messaging me and it's not going through. So I want to make sure that the messages are working. Got a lot of people coming tomorrow. I got Sunday. Today is Friday. I'm working summer school, so it kind of messes my days up because I'm only working Monday through Thursday. But thank you for liking the live, and it's so much fun starting to get to know you guys. And I love seeing the repeat people coming in. And reality and reality. What does the N stand for? So thank you for saying hi. Good to have you here. We're just opening it up. We can talk about anything that you would like. I kind of picked the topic of triggers, some of our triggers. Now that some of us have been through a lot of narcissistic abuse, that we have to be careful not to bring that into our workplace, bring it into new relationships, even our families. If you have children, that you're welcome. Thanks for coming. But yeah, good to have you here. It takes some time sometimes on YouTube for people to join, but I'm rebuilding it. I haven't really done too many YouTubes in a while, but it's good to have you knowing that it works. Also, I want to start doing some other kind of like little challenges, letting you guys know a little bit about my life and, how to get out living again, enjoying life. So it's so hot though. I'm really blessed. I met new people. I almost didn't go out on the lake. Sometimes your blessings come when you don't even expect it. So I'm just getting ready to go unpack upstairs. I get a text from one of my neighbors and they're like, "Hey, do you want to go on a pontoon boat ride?" And I ended up, yeah, why not? I'll go around one time. And I ended up going a couple times around the lake. And I was just talking to one of the ladies who I've never met before. She lives on the lake. And I was telling her how hot it is. And she just offered to give me a brand new air conditioner. And I'm like, "I'll buy it from you." She's like, "No, you can just have it." They had purchased it for kind of a neighbor that had passed away. So the lady never even used it. And I guess they got it back, but she's giving me a free air conditioner. And the people that I'm starting to meet, it's almost like your blessings come when you least expect it. I am so thankful for everybody I'm surrounded with, a lot of good people on this lake. And like I said, Sunday, I have a podcast, and then there's like 2 people on this lake that are like digital creators. So we'll have more people coming on. And I was watching TikTok and seeing how that works with bringing people on live. So I'll start doing that. I'm not quite sure exactly how that goes. But I can see you can interact with people. I kind of want to hone it down to the right group. I know you guys are still meeting me on TikTok, but I got YouTube going, Facebook, but I would like to open it up to talk to you guys live so other people can have their feelings validated, have people sharing their stories, building a community. Eventually, I'd like to branch out to where we can meet each other in person, maybe do a little travel kind of thing. And I see, and it says say hi. Am I supposed to, do I hit that? All the story, like, I deal a lot with mental illness and, understanding like schizophrenia and things like that, and how people feel sometimes when they're expressing their feelings, that people start thinking they're crazy, that sometimes they don't quite understand this trauma bond, the Stockholm syndrome. And sometimes we can't even express ourselves the right way because of the brain fog that's going on, or wanting to still protect our abuser. Why do we do that? Why do we go back? Why do we trust them again? And, over time, how I said, you kind of get stuck in a certain age when you go back to that trigger. If you were, I don't know, called fat in high school and somebody calls you that, you might act out like a 14-year-old. But if somebody takes something from you, you might throw a fit like a 2-year-old because you got sick of your brother taking your stuff. So it's interesting to see how we react to things, why we react to things, and why it is so important to heal that inner child, to know what we can change, and realize there are some things that we have to just let go. And, they say, let go, let God. Things are supposed to work out. Some of you are ruminating, thinking, are they ever going to come back? If it's meant to be, they will. If it's not meant to be, don't hold your life up for it. I wasted a lot of years hoping things would change. And in the state it is, it's not going to change. And that's why, even if you want it Go do your thing, live your life experiences, and then you're going to have more to bring to the table too, as opposed to, let's say, being in a shell for 5-10 years and they come back, but you're still 5-10 years behind the times, as opposed to sharing experiences. And you just got to let it go and let things play out. Live your life. I know I stopped living for a long time. It was interesting too, the way I talked changed. If you see some of my earlier videos, you'll see a little bit different. Because like with mine, I had to change the way I talked. Like, of course, if you've been with the narcissist, you know, they don't get back to you. They don't always answer your calls, but they listen to every single one. They will listen to you speak for hours. They won't pick up the phone. They won't call you back, but they'll listen to your voicemails. And so not knowing, are they listening to the whole thing or not, I would talk almost in reverse. So I would say the issue, and then I was just so messed up how I would talk. And then also trying to dumb it down to where, you're like, I want to make sure they understand it. So you try to keep it simple, and you try to do this and you try to do that. And it just changes the way you talk. Have you guys ever experienced that, where you start, that's walking on eggshells, and sometimes you bring that into, new relationships. So you want to try to just get back to being yourself so you can freely express yourself. And it was mind blowing. I know when I was growing up I am a teacher now, but as a student, I would look at my teachers and I'm like, how do you say the same thing 3 different times? Or so many times. I kind of do it too, though. So when you're teaching, you want to make sure that they understand it. But with the narcissist, I had to learn, or I felt I had to say things in every possible way. I had to counteract every situation. I had to project in my mind, like, what are they thinking? How is it going to come out? And I love that you guys are here. You guys are so cool. But we got Mike and Kenneth and Wally is here. Wally, how's your day going? It's a beautiful day here. It's just a little bit after midnight. We're supposed to have a super, super hot day. Did you guys look at the moon? I don't know what kind of moon it is today. It looks almost full, if not full. Super huge. So I went on the pontoon. We're going around and we see this. It was huge, huge moon out there. So sometimes when you stop, enjoy life, take a look around, you start to see the beauty that people have been missing. I also stopped my car a couple times, and Reality saying hi to Wally. That's what I love, when you guys interact with each other. I've had a lot of people end up developing friendships off of this community. Sometimes we feel lost or isolated or alone, and you guys are going to feel a part of a family here. So we got Mike and Miguel and Vidapuga. I'm not sure how to say that. Is that how I say it? But Wally says, I feel like I've seen you before on YouTube, but I can't put my finger on it. Perhaps it was from a video on Narcissist. Seems likely. That's what I do. That's what I do. Yes. So you probably have. I haven't been live that much. I'm starting to go live again now that it's summer. I'm not teaching that much. Oh, I love you, Mommy. My mom just joined in. I love you. Good to have you here. I thought about you today. I took a nap all day. I was super tired. So I'll have to call you. I'll have to call you tomorrow, Mom. But it's good having everybody. But yes, I have been on YouTube. What is it, 1.5 years, 2 years now? And I love doing videos for you guys. It's always good to try to help people. We can talk about anything, but sometimes it's hard to understand the abuse that we've been through. So I get a lot of love from you guys. I see all those hearts and everything, but it's hard to understand narcissistic abuse because we get blindsided so often, and, we're trying to communicate, and it's really interesting how, the more we try to communicate, the worse it gets. And you got your avoidance who shut down, and the more you try to communicate, the more they're going to shut down. So sometimes we do have to give people time to cool off, and matching energies is important because it can be overwhelming to certain people. But, I had a friend who is going, separate, And there's that talk about, take care of yourself first. And she was given the analogy of, if you're on an airplane, the airbag falls down, you got to cover yourself and then take care of your children. But she's upset about the way they're going with her ex. And so she's not allowing the children to speak about him. And it's really hard because she's like, I have to take care of myself first. And it's almost like, in a sense, yes, but we also had to take care of the kids, because in that analogy, you had the energy to eventually, within seconds, minutes, give that kid the air. It's not meant to, enjoy. So you're starting to panic. So Uncle Pete is here too. I love it. Uncle Pete, good to have you. Mommy's here too, Uncle Pete. So she was taking care of yourself first. But if there's too much delay, the damage is going to be done to the kids. So you have to get it to where you're able to allow the kids to express themselves and to feel heard. So Wally says that's a rough spot to be in as a parent, but also someone who wants to get away from the narcissist. Exactly, because you feel so trapped. You want to forget everything that happened, or you just don't want to deal with it. You want some downtime. But sometimes, the kids are going through things too. And they're also in that developmental stage to where a lot of times they don't know how to handle the things. So we have to kind of guide them. Sometimes they need comfort. I have shown on some of my videos the damage that can be done. There was a nurse that goes through this orphanage, and she's like, all the kids are crying. I don't hear any of the babies crying. And they had 100 kids, 40 to 100 kids, babies in this big room, and none of them were crying. And they said that's because, we don't run to them, we don't cuddle them, and they just basically fed them and let them cry it out. And eventually the kids gave up. But I saw the brain damage. If you type in brain damage on my YouTube channel, you'll see the brain scans. So much damage and neglect. So if you've been through narcissistic abuse, it does damage your brain. Also, people wondering, is our person going to come back? Are they going to change? But there's brain damage done to them. Parts of the amygdala. And Uncle Pete, I'm so glad you're here. My mommy too. You guys got to say hi to each other. But yeah, being a parent who is separated, sometimes you want to talk to the person. There's a lot of control issues that happen. It gets difficult. And, sometimes we have to set things up. We have to give up some of the control, pick which battles we're going to fight. I see a power struggle between them. So sometimes, give a little, take a little, but the kids get hurt in this. And that's the saddest part. Sometimes you just want to communicate. They don't want to communicate with you. So that makes it frustrating when they break court orders, and just a big old mess. But so I see mommy's still watching. Mom, was it nice and hot where you are? I'm getting my tree limbs trimmed down tomorrow over my roof. So got to wake up early for that. It's so hot in here tomorrow. Mom, I don't know if you heard, I get an air conditioner. I made new friends, and one of the ladies on the lake is giving me a brand new air conditioner. So I'll be happy about that. And that's why sometimes when you feel helpless, you don't necessarily know what is around the corner, because today I did not expect to make 8 new friends. And it started with one person, new friend on the lake, and they wanted to introduce me to people. So stay tuned. There will be new people joining me live in these podcasts. So a lot of different topics coming. When you guys interact with me, I know what you guys want to hear. A lot of you have been talking about the new supply and monkey branching. It seems like that is a big point of hurt or interest, where we're just reaching out, trying to understand what is going on. Sometimes we can't make sense of it. And, we can search and search and search for the answers, but the answers are never going to come, because when you're dealing with a liar, even if you ask them, you're still going to feel unsettled. It's still not going to make sense to you. But I got lots of people joining in. I love this. Oh my gosh, DJ, you are just liking it. I love it. You're helping so much. Definitely appreciate it. One new message. How do these messages work? Oops. And I got to figure out James Jeffries. I had is it Jim Jeffries? You're not a radio DJ. What was his first name? It was Jeff Jeffries. A radio station. I met him. He was from Detroit. Real tall guy. Are you a real tall guy? Jim Jeffries. Oh, is he a comedian? He was a DJ in Detroit, if it's the same one, the Australian. I don't know. Oh, okay. I'm not sure who that is. The guy that I met, the radio DJ, he was extremely tall. I'm 6'1". I think I was 5'10" back then though, but he was probably like 6'6", 6'7", real thin, dark hair, but maybe another one. I love going to comedy shows. I definitely love. I got some messages coming in. Hosts, guests. I got to figure out how to do that. How do you do it with hosts? Maybe I can set something up. And we see Hernan P. Rodas. I love the names. But, hearing about the triggers and seeing just how the judge was treating that man. She didn't want to hear what he had to say. And sometimes, people in authority, they kind of take it to the extreme. She didn't have to be as rough as she was. Is it the girl power going on too? She was sick of men taking advantage of women, which he was. But you could tell something was wrong by the way he's clapping and smiling. It's almost like it brings it back to that childhood where you don't know what to do. You hear people clapping, so you clap. You smile because you're uncomfortable. You don't know how to maintain your composure. Also talking about, masking, being your authentic self. I think people struggle with that one too. And this is how I see it, is sometimes we want to be our authentic self. We're pissed off. We want to act pissed off. We want to scream or throw a fit. But we all have to adapt. Part of our life journey is to adapt, to get along. If we all were in our primal state, it would be a mess. So is it necessarily masking or, having courtesy? There's things that we struggle with. And I know not everybody's religious, but there are certain things that kind of can guide you, that if you follow the things like don't do like the gluttony, that's going to help you not to overeat or, get into other types of situations, drinking too much or whatever it may be, that there are certain things that we have to hold ourselves accountable to. And there was another person who had mentioned my narcissist got me to drink into a pattern of drinking. And now I'm an alcoholic and I blacked out. And it was a kind of interesting story where he was drunk and came home totally plastered. And the next day he can't find his truck. And he was behind on payments by 2 months. So he just kind of chalked it up to, well, it got repoed. And, it was a couple months later, he goes for a walk and he's walking like pretty far away and he finds his truck. So he was so plastered, he parked his car way down in the neighborhood. So, when it gets to a point where it starts affecting your life, there's times interventions might be necessary. And it's interesting with all the other types of mental illness, they can diagnose you. But when it comes to narcissism, they don't diagnose you until it has a damaging effect on your life. It has nothing to do with the other people, which is crazy because a psychopath, they're dangerous. You need to know they're a psychopath and they can be dangerous to other people, but they are what they are. But a narcissist is diagnosed unless it affects their own life negatively, which is interesting because they can go through, that's why they say, is Donald Trump a narcissist? And we're just going to keep it really shallow. I don't want to go deep into that. But if it's working for him, he's not a narcissist. He's had divorces. Maybe he's happy to. So, if it crushed him, if he hated the fact that his cockiness or whatever caused the dissolution of the marriage. So it's interesting. It has to have a negative effect. So, but we got Skip It. I like that name. Artie and Whalers, lots of people. But it's good having everybody here. And as far as the new supply, comparing to the other person, don't do that. I know a lot of us are like, was I not good enough? Was I not this? Was I not that? That just be your authentic self. Because if you try to change yourself, it's not going to feel good. And they were talking about also like fearful avoidance of changing the goalpost to every time you try to do something, they're going to keep adding. It was interesting too that they said women do it more often, that they're kind of like nagging on this. Like if they're upset with you, they wanted you to clean the garage. So you're like, okay, I cleaned the garage. Now she's going to change it to this. Guys can do it too, but it's almost like nothing you can do is ever good enough, because if people want to bitch, they're going to bitch. If people want to nitpick, it just is something to keep them busy. A lot of them deal with boredom, or they need the chaos, so they stir up chaos. They can't just be content or happy. That's why loving your person back into your life is not going to work, and you're not going to have a healthy relationship. And we have to realize that, and it goes down to the values too. If you grew up in a good family system, that's why it's starting to bother you, the way they're treating you. So sometimes two toxic people can have a long-lasting relationship because, if they fight with each other, they fight with each other. That's how it is. And I talked about that one guy I know who actually liked fighting with this person. He said, we get along best when we fight. And that doesn't sound like a healthy relationship, but he would purposely fight with her. And she ended up giving up. She's like, I'm not dealing with this. And he couldn't understand it. And I see the love you guys are giving me. Thank you. But narcissists have like other kind of tendencies too. There's a lot of other mental illnesses that deal with narcissistic traits, and we all have it to some extent. Anyways, what are you guys sending me? Unlock the vault. Oh my gosh. Getting to know all this stuff. It's so hot today. I can't wait for that air conditioner tomorrow. Uncle Pete, did you hear my neighbor's giving me a brand new air conditioner? That's about the only thing wrong with this house is there's no air in here, and it's so hot today. Super hot. Tomorrow's supposed to be even hotter. What is it, 96 or something tomorrow? I'm out in Michigan. Wonder, probably Arizona, places out there might even be hotter. So I don't know where you guys are. I got people from all over the world joining in. Feel free to let me know what the temperature is where you guys are. But hoping for like cool nights. Moving in here, I've only been here a few months, but it was always cold at night. And the house would cool down so I could leave it closed up. The outside got warm, and then the inside would be nice and cool, easy to sleep through. But tomorrow, with taking the branches above the tree off, then we're kind of in some trouble. We got some direct sunlight, but trying to figure out, part of me wants to go back to school, get my degree to be a psychologist. It's really been on my mind. I have a book. I went to a friend's house. You're going to meet her on Sunday. She's going to come over and do a podcast. And her husband wrote a book on graduate school. So, thinking about going back to college to fulfill, like, that's kind of what I wanted to do. My mom, I don't even know if you know this, or Uncle Pete, but that's kind of what I wanted to do when I was a little girl. I had these little visions. I was going to be this psychiatrist and I was going to talk to people, and I would be because I'm always creative. So I had this like vision of having like a little pool. It was like a hot tub, but a pool. And we would just kind of like chill and talk, and I'd help them through life. But you know, the twists and turns of life. I am certified to teach psychology through the state of Michigan, but I've always wanted to do that. But you know, cost effectiveness, you know, the time commitment, and we have to start realizing at a certain point in our life, you know, where do we want to focus our lives? Sometimes we have to pick our battles. So part of me wants to do that, but you know, the other part is like, I've been a workaholic for so long that, you know, I think if I stay on track, I can retire in like 8 years is the game plan. And you guys are helping me with that. I'm hoping to build up the social media so I can just spend more time with you guys, and that'll kind of be my retirement plan too. You guys have shown me a lot of love, and I appreciate all the donations and things like that. But I'm here for you guys. I do videos, one-on-one coaching. I do want to start those cooking things. So I think if I can get the camera set up right, I think Sunday or Monday, I'll try to do like some cooking things too. Gotta have some fun. Got a lot of recipes I want to do. You guys are awesome with that love. And gonna get a feel for what I should do on the different platforms. I know YouTube's really good. Rebuilding that where you guys are gonna interact with me. Let me know. Some of you just want to watch, which is fine. Glad to have you guys here. Sometimes hearing each other's stories can really be helpful. So I've had some friends that I've made through social media that have really come through for me. You know, there's times I need to talk to, but it's good to see that there are good people out there. Sometimes we feel alone, helpless, hopeless, and don't know where to turn. And sometimes even just, you know, talking to a live person, even if it's through text, can be helpful. I know a lot of us don't know where to go anymore. You know, how am I going to meet friends, or how do I date again? Be very cautious on the internet. It's a scary world out there right now, and narcissism is on the rise. So we have to pay attention to those red flags and take the time to slowly get to know people. And you know, that court case I was talking about, the girl didn't even know that the guy was married. So, you know, pick up on little clues. Some of them are hard to find, but a lot of times hearing people share their stories about the past can give you some insight. You know, were they promiscuous, or, you know, that's the thing when people lie, it makes it really hard, but you can start to see through, like, that doesn't add up. Like, you went snowmobiling in college, but then you said you went to college in Florida. So, you know, sometimes you're like, something's not adding up. Pay attention to those things. And when people lie, a lot of times they can't keep track of it. And eventually the truth unfolds. Sometimes it takes years to get to that point, though. And by that time, you're already invested, or that you've fallen in love. Pay attention to patterns. And that is so true. That is so true. And so interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Reality. Is when over time, you know, if you see all these posts through all these different social medias, that there is this pattern that narcissists do with the devaluation, the discard. You can even see in your own relationships where you can look back and you're like, it was every 3 months, or it was every 3 weeks. I had it. I could predict. I would tell my friends, I'm like, I think we're going to break up. And they're like, but wait, you guys are getting along. I'm like, and it was weird. When we got along, that's when we broke up. Does that make sense? And it was a pattern. And then we get back together and then we break up. Wally says, I feel guilty of triangulation for moving between 2 chats. I can't you. narcissist. I'm trying to think. I want to do narc jokes. Where it's like knock jokes, but I'm still working on that narc. So that's a new thing. If somebody does something narcissistic, I'm like narc. Yeah, because I haven't found. Sometimes you gotta laugh about it. We've all been through so many things. It's really not funny. But I try to get creative. If you guys notice on my shorts, a soul survivor Cynthia, SOUL. A soul survivor Cynthia on YouTube. I have a lot of shorts. I kind of do that on TikTok too, where I use like filters and do little silly little jokes, just to keep it, a little bit more light. But so who you cheating on me with, Wally? Who is it? I like knowing who you guys like. It was interesting. Do you guys know who Cluster B Milkshake is? I had somebody confuse me with her. And they're like, weren't you a jerk to your kids? And I'm like, what? And I think that's who it is. She's a narcissist, very smart. I actually enjoy watching her, but she's been open. There are times that narcissists do tell the truth. There are times that you could see that they have feelings, but she also, it's interesting how straightforward she is. And I was watching another one about this. It was like one of the world's worst women's sociopath is when you're made. Psychopath is when you're born that way. But the girl was like murdered this guy, and she was so cold-hearted and didn't care, had no remorse, could care less about going to jail. And she's like, yeah, I'm kind of sad they didn't give me the electric chair because that's what I deserve. But well, make some friends. A lot of my homies are in jail. But people started really commenting like, I low-key really like this girl. Or what is it about this girl that I like? And they latched on to the fact that she was taking accountability. She said, yes, I murdered this person. Yes, I tricked him. Yes, I tortured him. And sometimes, yes, it's refreshing for people to be honest, but they overlooked what she was saying. So sometimes, that trauma state, just searching for somebody to tell you the truth, be careful what they're telling you. It was overlooked. So, Wally, I don't know if you're still there, Wally. Did you leave again? That's okay. You came back. That's a good sign. So, I don't know. Triangulation. It's bringing outside people in. Airplane Fixer is here. Thank you guys. I got some new followers. I love it. I love it. I love it. And we're still kind of, we're popular on the live. Let's see if we can do it again. 4 nights in a row where we're 100% of all the people on my level. So we had the best turnout last 4 days. So I appreciate that. So Wally, you're going to have to tell me. I noticed Nameless Narcissist. He started the same time I did. He's blowing it up. But yeah, there's a lot of things to learn. And I am seeing a pattern with you guys on some of the things that you guys want to learn. So I do pay attention to the things that you guys like, the things you comment on. That helps me understand your needs. So make sure you comment on whatever video it is, whether you agree with it or disagree. That definitely helps guide the way the channel goes. So you guys have some power in this to make it your own, the things that you need. But I like getting creative. And my mom, if you're still there, it says that you're watching. I'm not sure if you're still there, but my mom was wonderful and got me some software. So I'm going to have to get back to using that and get creative with some of these things. I do see certain digital creators not necessarily doing the best advice. There is, dark empaths. There is psychological tricks and manipulation. And even the way we shop has a lot of psychological tricks on where things are placed to make us buy the higher dollar places, items, the music, the temperature. There's a lot of manipulation in this world. So be aware of that, once you learn the tricks, once you learn what to look out for, you can prepare yourself better. So now that you know, the items on the end cap, the items in the middle shelf, sometimes sweets and stuff, it'll be on the lower shelf so the kids can grab it. Once you start knowing how you're being manipulated, you can counteract it. You can make better decisions. But I had mentioned before how I got this one coupon, and it said that, can't remember, I think it was $5,000 or $10,000. I think $10,000 they said I won. And I'm like, because you scratch things off, and if it matches, you win. And I'm like, what are the chances that I won? And so I called the dealership, and I was, you have to call this number. You have to give them your verification code and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, all you got to do is go to the dealership to pick up your money. And it just already sounded like a scam, sounded like something was up. So I was very specific in my questions. And this is what gets so frustrating, because I get specific. Because of this abuse that I've been through, I take every angle. When I ask my questions, I will ask and ask to make sure that there's no holes in it. I've also been to law school, so I know, the legal loopholes and things like that you got to look out for. So the way people word things, pay attention to that. That's that gaslighting, or, switching the subject, or putting it on you. But she was going round and round and trying to comfort me, trying to entice me to get into that dealership. And so I went round and round. I said, so all I have to do is bring in my driver's license and this coupon, and I get my money. And she says, looks like it. Look at it. She didn't say yes. There's a reason she didn't say yes. So I drive out there, because I even told her I'm going to be very upset if, basically if it's a scam, because, it was like 45 minutes out of my way, plus the gas and, the time and the place. And I really didn't want to go out there. With traffic during rush hour, it takes like almost 2 hours to get home. So I go out there, and of course it's a scam. And even the guy, he's like, you're going to be pissed. So I get this $5 Walmart gift card, which, thank you for the $5, but how far away it was, it cost me more in gas. So I lost money. So that $5 is kind of like a slap in the face, and it gets really frustrating when you're like, I asked the right questions. And I did that with my abuser, where I asked and asked and asked, and you get those kind of like those answers, looks like it. You're like, no, I need to know more. This isn't concrete enough. Have you guys been through that, where you're like, something's up with this? And so you ask again, and then you turn into a nag, and, you start feeling like, is it because of me that this relationship fell apart? If they would have answered your question in the first place, it would not have gotten that out of hand. So if you guys have been through that, don't take that on yourself. There are times we should have probably either walked away sooner or not. Sometimes you had this hope, and that's kind of the analogy, is you have this hope, hope I win $10,000, hope I'm with the right person, but deep inside, your body is telling you. Because I don't normally ask people over and over and over again, the people that I trust, or the people that answer honestly. That doesn't happen. So pay attention to the way you talk. Also be more succinct. But with sometimes they're master manipulators, and you give your heart. When you start giving too much, you start losing yourself, and it's like digging yourself in deeper. So it's tough, and then it starts affecting your health and your energy, and it trickles down into your other relationships. That's why you start feeling isolated and alone, and then you get depressed and then anxious. So sometimes we got to go through the stages of grief. We have to recognize, who we are, the things that we have to be our own best friend and start building ourselves up. Like right now, how I talk about that, where I would like to go back and become probably psychologist instead of psychiatrist. But a part of me wants to achieve that. A part of me is like, man, that was my dream. And I just didn't do it, but I am learning, and, I'm at the stage of life where I could pursue that dream, but it's not really going to bring me that much more money than what I'm currently making. I'm blessed to have the summers off. Sometimes we have to look at our blessings. I am so blessed to be a teacher. I chose to work summer school, but it's only 16 hours a week, so it's not that big of a deal. Do I want to commit to all those hours of studying? I don't mind studying, but you're on a time frame. You have to do the test. If something happens, let's say my car broke down and I couldn't get to school to take a test, sometimes you fail the course and you're paying so much money. Do I want to take a loan out to do that? I'd like to retire. So sometimes, sometimes it's okay to have your dreams change. I think I want to change my dream to retiring, and, I do enjoy the social media. If I could do this full time, I would. Eventually, I hope that'll happen, because I am a workaholic, so I'd probably still be doing this. But I love sharing my life with you guys and helping you guys. So Wally, I don't know if you went off for a little bit. You're not going to share? I can research it. I know who my channel people watch. A lot of people like Dr. Ramani. She was one of the first people. I gave a tribute to Angie Atkinson. She was also very helpful. She's passed away, but sometimes we're still blessed with these videos where we can find some answers. So there's a lot of bad things with the internet, but there's also some really good things. How do you guys feel about this AI stuff that's going on? I just caught a student cheating with CHAT GPT. So that's what I got to handle on Monday. Busted. Can't do that. And Omar is here. So like with him, I started seeing signs. So I've kind of been like, but yeah, it flat out says Chat GPT on it. He just copy and paste. I thank you guys for the love. That means a lot. I got a lot of fluff hearts or whatever those were. But when you start seeing the signs, you know to be a little bit more vigilant on things. And this is where it gets tricky, though, is I had one where he said that his friend committed suicide. And I thought he was lying to me, because he lied so many times. And I almost said something, but I wanted to make sure. And I searched what he had told me, and it was true. The guy did commit suicide. So sometimes I do tell the truth. And, it's a difficult relationship where you're like, what do I believe? What don't I? Because their stories can sometimes be fantastical. And this one kind of was the story behind why. And it's just like the timing and all that stuff. But sometimes it is the truth. And that's where it gets hard. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but there's also that boy that cries wolf. When do you cut it off? Because trust is so important in a relationship, and that's really hard to rebuild. But anybody have any good stories for today? I had a good story. Like I said, went out on the pontoon. I did take a nap. I was up late last couple nights. Right now it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, but I definitely wanted to tune in with you guys, see what you guys are up to. I love when you guys chat with me. Making new friends is always super exciting for me. I do appreciate that. I got to wake up early to go get a lift and I was really blessed. My friend lent me a chainsaw. I will not be doing the cutting. It's not me who's going to do it. I'd also like you guys to share with me on the times that work for you. I can go early around dinner time. I'm Eastern Standard Time, or I can do it a little bit later. With people out in California, I try to accommodate them, and also people in Eastern Standard Time and all the way in between. There are people that have joined us from Africa, the United Kingdom. Sometimes we get Australia, and cultural differences I was thinking about that too, with the cultural differences. America, the melting pot, sometimes that can cause some problems too, to where we have different expectations and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and log off. I am starting to crash. I'm getting super, super tired. But thank you guys for the love, and I can't wait to see you guys again. Aw, you love me, Omar. You're so sweet. Good to have you here. So I'm going to log off, unless I'll give you guys a few minutes if you want to talk about something in particular, something that's heavy on your heart. Feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to log off. But tomorrow's a new day. Never give up hope. Just keep chugging along. And it's okay to grieve. It's important to grieve, where you go through the stages. You're going to go through the bargaining and the denial. You are welcome, reality. Good. I'm glad that information was useful. More topics to come. Feel free to share your stories or your questions. I do one-on-ones, also topic requests. I love topic requests. We can do videos on that. And stay tuned. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good night. Bye, guys. I'm going to log off now. Oh, just now joining. Oh my gosh, I'm getting dizzy, tired. So I'm going to go ahead and log off. But I will see you guys tomorrow. And we're going to have a live podcast on Sunday. So thanks. See you soon.